The galaxy was not a quiet place. For thousands of years, empires rose and fell, but there was always one rule everyone understood: never allow humans too much freedom. The Council of Species had learned that lesson long ago. Humans were young compared to most advanced races, but they were unpredictable, emotional, and frighteningly fast at adapting. Entire civilizations had been destroyed not by human weapons, but by human ideas. That was why the Council had gathered once again. Inside the Grand Chamber, light from a dozen suns reflected on polished stone. Delegates from across the galaxy filled the seats: scaled reptilians with cold eyes, insectoid hives that spoke in whispers, and ancient species who had ruled space before Earth even discovered fire. At the center of the chamber, the chair being of the Council spoke with a voice that carried across the hall. "They have demanded peace talks," the chair being said. "The humans request recognition, equal rights, and protection under Council law. They claim they only want peace." The chamber filled with uneasy sounds: claws clicking, wings buzzing, deep voices muttering. Everyone remembered the war. The humans had fought it only 50 years ago. Entire fleets had been burned, and planets scarred forever. And yet, humans had survived. Not only survived, they had grown stronger. Some council members wanted to accept the talks. "If we make peace with them now," argued the tall avian delegate, feathers shining, "we can shape them, guide them, perhaps even learn from them. They may no longer be a threat if they feel respected." But others hissed at the thought. "Guide them? Impossible," snarled a scaled reptilian commander. "Humans learn too fast. Give them a century and they will not just join us, they will lead us. And when humans lead, the rest of us will bleed." The debate grew louder. Some spoke of human courage, their ability to stand even when crushed. Others spoke of fear, of the fire in their eyes, the way they could turn desperation into victory. At last, the chair being raised its many hands. Silence returned. "Then it is agreed. We will meet the humans. We will hear their words." The chamber grew cold. Every delegate understood what this meant. A ship would be sent. A hall prepared. And for the first time in galactic history, humanity would stand before the Council of Species not as prisoners, not as rebels, but as negotiators. Far away, on Earth, the message arrived. The leaders of humanity gathered in a darkened room. Generals, scientists, and diplomats sat around a single table. They read the invitation again and again. Peace talks. After so many years of blood and fear, the Council was finally willing to listen. Some wanted to accept immediately. "This is our chance," said one diplomat. "No more wars, no more fleets hanging over our skies. We can finally breathe." But the generals did not smile. One of them, an old soldier with scars across his face, shook his head. "Do you think they want peace?" he asked. "No. They want control. They see our growth, and they are afraid. These talks are not a gift. They are a test." The room grew quiet. Everyone understood the weight of his words. Finally, the leader of the Council of Earth, an older woman known for her iron will, spoke. Her voice was calm, but there was a steel edge to it. "Then let them test us," she said. "Let them see what humanity truly is." The date was set. When the human delegation arrived at the Council station, every eye turned to them. Compared to the towering insectoids and shimmering energy beings, the humans looked almost fragile, just flesh and bone wrapped in simple uniforms. Yet there was something in the way they walked, a quiet confidence that made even ancient species uneasy. The chamber filled with whispers. "They are so small. And yet they survived us all." At the center, the human leader stepped forward. She looked at the galaxy's oldest and most powerful species, and without fear, she spoke the first words. "You wanted peace talks," she said, her voice carrying across the chamber. "So here we are. But understand this, humanity does not come begging. We do not come crawling for scraps of your mercy. We come as equals. And what we say today will change everything." The chamber froze. Some delegates felt anger. Others felt fear. A few, very few, felt hope. And in that silence, the galaxy understood. Whatever the humans said next, the old order of the stars would never be the same. The council chamber did not move. Every alien eye, every strange sense, was locked on the human leader. Her words were calm, but they carried a weight no translator could soften. She had spoken like no other race had ever dared before the council. For centuries, species had come here begging, pleading for mercy, asking for trade, requesting protection. But these humans stood with shoulders straight and eyes that did not blink. They were not begging. They were warning. The chair being of the council finally broke the silence. Its voice echoed with many tones, vibrating through the chamber. You call yourselves equals. Bold words for a young species. Tell us, human leader, what gives you this confidence? What gives you the right to stand before us as if you are one of us? The human leader did not look away. Her face was calm, but her words were sharp. We have the right because we survived you. 50 years ago, you sent your fleets to teach us our place. You burned our worlds, you shattered our skies, you thought we would kneel. But we did not. We fought. And when the smoke cleared, humanity still stood. The chamber filled with a low growl of voices. Delegates hissed, clicked, muttered, their emotions spilling into the air. Some were angry at her arrogance. Others remembered the war and felt a quiet shiver of fear. A tall avian delegate leaned forward, feathers rustling like blades. You call survival a right? Countless species have survived wars. What makes humanity so different? The human smiled faintly. It was not the smile of a diplomat, but of a predator. What makes us different, she said softly, is that survival is only the beginning. We do not just survive. We grow. Every war, every wound, every loss, we take it and we turn it into strength. No matter what is thrown at us, we rise higher. That is why you fear us. That is why you invited us here. For a moment, no one spoke. The truth of her words weighed heavy. Even the ancient species, who had ruled the stars before humans crawled from caves, felt a flicker of unease. The reptilian commander hissed, baring his sharp teeth. Fear? Do not flatter yourselves, human. We are not afraid. We are cautious. A fire left unchecked can spread. A blade left unwatched can cut its master. That is why you are here. Not for peace. For control. The human leader's eyes narrowed. If you think you can control us, then you have learned nothing. The chamber erupted in noise. Voices rose, translators struggled to keep up. Some shouted that humans must be destroyed before it was too late. Others argued that humanity was too valuable to lose. They spoke of human courage, human madness, human creativity, traits rare and dangerous in the galaxy. But one voice rose above them all. The insectoid hive speaker clicked its mandibles, and its words carried like the hiss of a blade. Enough. Let us test their claim. They speak of strength. They speak of growth. Very well. Let them prove it. One challenge. One trial. If they succeed, then perhaps they are worthy of peace. If they fail, the insectoid's many eyes glowed cold. Then humanity will be erased. The hall went still. A trial. The galaxy loved trials. It was a tradition older than the council itself. Many species had been tested this way. Some had passed and earned a place among the stars. Many more had failed and vanished into dust. The chair being's many hands rose. Agreed. Humanity shall face a trial. Their words will be tested in action. The humans did not flinch. Their leader only nodded. Then give us your trial, she said. And you will see what humanity truly is. Hours later, aboard their ship, the human delegation gathered. The weight of what had been decided pressed down on them. Some were pale, others furious. This is madness, one diplomat whispered. We should have accepted peace. Now they will throw us into some impossible test. If we fail, humanity could be wiped out. But the old general, the one with scars on his face, shook his head. His voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. No. This is exactly what we needed. The galaxy does not respect weakness. They only respect strength. This trial, they think it will break us. But it will do the opposite. It will show them why humanity cannot be broken. The leader looked around the room. Then we prepare. Whatever the trial is, whatever challenge they set, we will not only face it, we will win. Silence filled the chamber as each human understood what was coming. This was not just about peace. It was about survival. About proving, once again, what humanity was made of. And far above, in the heart of the galaxy, alien species watched and waited. Some prayed for humanity to fail. Others secretly hoped they would succeed. But none could deny the truth anymore. The humans had arrived. And the galaxy would never be the same. The news of the trial spread across the galaxy like fire. From the frozen moons of the outer rim to the shining cores of ancient empires, every race waited to see what would happen. Humanity had spoken with boldness. Now, they would be tested. The council chose the location with care. It was an old world, long abandoned after its sun dimmed. The planet's surface was a wasteland of storms and shadows, but beneath the ground lay the ruins of an ancient labyrinth. This place, explained the insectoid hive speaker, was once built to test warriors. Those who could pass its halls were feared across the stars. Those who failed were never seen again. The council delegates whispered among themselves. This labyrinth had destroyed armies. To send a small group of humans inside seemed cruel. But cruelty was part of the test. The human leader listened without blinking. We accept. The day arrived. On the surface of the dead world, storms raged, lightning cutting across a black sky. The entrance to the labyrinth yawned, open like the mouth of a beast. Around it, ships from 100 species circled, broadcasting the event across the stars. Billions watched. The human team stood at the entrance. Soldiers, engineers, scientists, each had been chosen carefully. At their center was the scarred general, the man who had warned that this was no gift, but a test. He carried no fear in his eyes. Only focus. Remember, he said quietly, his voice carried on the wind. This trial is not about strength alone. They expect us to fight, but we are more than fighters. We are thinkers. We are survivors. Whatever we face inside, adapt. Endure. Win. The team nodded. And then, without hesitation, they entered the labyrinth. The first chambers were silent. Dark stone walls stretched endlessly, lit only by the glow of strange crystals. Symbols from forgotten civilizations were carved into the walls. Some moved when looked at too long, like they were alive. It feels like the place is watching us, one of the scientists whispered. It is, the general answered. They pressed on. Soon, the traps began. Floors that collapsed into endless pits. Walls that shifted like puzzles. Doors that demanded riddles written in languages no living race could speak. But the humans did not stop. They worked together. When the floor fell, they formed chains of hands and pulled each other back. When the walls shifted, they mapped the patterns and turned them into paths. When riddles appeared, the scientists and engineers argued furiously until the answers revealed themselves. The council watched through hidden drones. Many expected the humans to panic. Instead, they adapted with terrifying speed. Every problem became a lesson. Every trap became a tool. They should not be solving these this fast, muttered the reptilian commander. It took my people centuries to even understand those symbols. The avian delegate said nothing. But deep inside, a flicker of admiration grew. Deeper into the labyrinth, the dangers grew worse. Mechanical guardians awoke, tall machines of metal and fire, built by the ancients to crush intruders. Their weapons tore through stone, Their eyes glowed with fury. The humans fought. But they did not fight like beasts. They fought like hunters. Soldiers drew the machines into tight spaces where size became weakness. Engineers hacked into their ancient systems. Scientists turned broken weapons into new ones. One by one, the Guardians fell. And with each victory, the humans grew bolder. Still, the labyrinth was not finished. In the deepest chamber, they found it, the final trial. A creature waited in the dark. It was not machine, nor stone, nor trap. It was alive, though no one could say what race had made it. A massive beast, larger than any human ship, its skin armored, its eyes burning with hunger. It had been left here for countless ages, fed only on those who failed the test. The council delegates leaned forward as the image appeared on their screens. "This is where they die," the insectoid hissed. "No one has ever passed this chamber." Inside, the human team stood in silence as the beast roared, the sound shaking the very air. The scarred general looked at his team. "Remember who we are. Remember what we came to prove. We don't break. We don't kneel. We win." The beast charged. The chamber exploded in chaos. Outside, billions of eyes watched the feed. Some expected to see humans torn apart in moments. Others prayed to see the impossible, that the fragile species from a small blue planet would stand against the ancient terror and endure. And as the storm raged above the dead world, the galaxy held its breath. The trial of humanity had begun in truth. The chamber shook as the beast roared. Dust fell from the ceiling, the walls cracked, and the air itself trembled with its voice. It was massive, larger than any living creature the humans had ever seen. Its skin was black stone mixed with metal, its claws like blades, and its eyes glowed with red fire. The council delegates watched in silence. Many leaned forward, their hearts racing. This was the moment. The labyrinth had broken armies, devoured fleets. And now, a handful of humans stood before the ancient monster. Inside the chamber, the human team spread out quickly. Panic would mean death. But there was no panic in their eyes. Only focus. The scarred general raised his voice, calm and firm. "Remember the rule. Adapt. Survive. Use everything." The beast charged. Its steps shook the floor like thunder. A soldier opened fire, bullets bouncing harmlessly off the armored hide. Another soldier launched explosives, the blast only slowing the creature for seconds. "It's too strong," someone shouted. "Then we make it weaker," the general growled. He scanned the chamber. The walls were lined with old machinery, glowing crystals, half-dead power conduits. The ancients had built this place not only to test strength, but intelligence. And that was humanity's weapon. "Engineers, find the power lines," the general barked. "Scientists, distract it. Soldiers, buy them time." The humans moved. The beast lunged, its claws slashing through the stone where soldiers had stood seconds earlier. They rolled, fired, and shouted, keeping its attention. Sparks flew as engineers tore into the walls, rewiring forgotten circuits with shaking hands. The scientists analyzed the glowing crystals, their voices sharp as they argued in whispers. The council delegates watched in disbelief. "They're fighting it and studying the chamber at the same time," muttered the avian delegate. "Impossible," hissed the reptilian commander. "They cannot do both." But the humans were doing it. Minutes passed like hours. The beast smashed walls, roared in fury, but it could not catch them. Humans were too small, too fast, too stubborn to stand still. Finally, the engineers shouted, "We found it! A power core!" The general gave the order instantly. "Overload it." The scientists hesitated. "If we overload, the whole chamber could collapse." The general's scarred face hardened. "Then we bring the beast down with us." The order was clear. They worked fast, connecting wires, charging crystals, pushing ancient systems far beyond their limits. The beast sensed danger. It roared and turned on the engineers. Soldiers opened fire, throwing themselves in its path, guns blazing. One was caught by a claw and hurled against the wall. He did not rise again. "Keep going," the general shouted. The chamber filled with light. The crystals glowed white-hot, the walls vibrating with energy. The beast roared again, this time not in hunger but in fear. "Now!" the general roared. The humans dived for cover as the power core exploded. From orbit, the watching fleets saw the surface of the dead world erupt with light. For a moment, it looked as if the entire labyrinth had collapsed. Dust clouds rose, lightning tore across the black sky. Billions watching across the galaxy thought it was over. Humanity had failed. But then, movement. Figures emerged from the smoke at the mouth of the labyrinth. The human team staggered into the storm, burned, bloody, but alive. Behind them, the ground split open. The beast's massive body lay broken, crushed beneath fallen stone and burned by the energy blast. The council chamber erupted in noise. Some shouted in disbelief, others in fury, some even in admiration. They killed it. Impossible. No species has ever destroyed the beast. And yet, the truth was before them. Humanity had not only survived the labyrinth. They had conquered it. Inside the chamber, the chair being raised its many hands for silence. Its voice trembled with something rare, uncertainty. "You have passed." The humans stood at the center, battered but unbroken. Their leader looked at the gathered delegates, her voice calm but sharp as a blade. "You wanted proof. Now you have it. We told you humanity does not break. We told you we rise. And now you see, we do not just survive your trials. We defeat them." Silence followed. Even the most ancient species had no answer. And in that silence, a truth spread across the galaxy. Humanity was no longer just another young race crawling among the stars. They were something else. Something greater. But deep in the shadows of the chamber, not everyone celebrated. Some whispered of danger, of fear, of a threat that must be ended before it grew too large. The humans had passed the trial. But the real battle was only beginning. The ruins of the labyrinth still smoked on the dead world's surface. The beast was gone, and the humans had survived. Across the galaxy, billions watched the broadcast replay again and again, stunned by what they had seen. The council chamber buzzed with noise. Some delegates shouted in anger, others whispered in awe. The humans had done the impossible, and that truth could not be erased. "They have proven themselves," the avian delegate said, his wings lifting with excitement. "No one can deny it now. Humanity has earned a place among us." But others hissed with rage. The reptilian commander slammed a clawed fist against the table. "They are dangerous. You saw how they fought, how they adapted. No labyrinth, no beast, no trap could stop them. If they join us, it will not be as equals, it will be as rulers." The insectoid hive speaker clicked its mandibles sharply. "Then we must act before it is too late." The chamber froze. Everyone understood the meaning in those words. The chair being spoke slowly, its many voices heavy with thought. "We cannot erase their victory. Too many watched. Too many will question us. But perhaps," it hesitated, "perhaps not all victories are enough." Whispers filled the chamber. The meaning was clear. If the labyrinth had failed, another test, less public, less fair, could be arranged. The human delegation was unaware of these whispers as they returned to their ship. Exhausted, injured, but alive, they gathered around the scarred general and their leader. "You did it," one diplomat whispered, voice full of awe. "The galaxy saw everything. They have no choice but to accept us now." But the general's eyes stayed cold. "Do not be so sure. The galaxy does not respect rules. It respects power. And power always fears what it cannot control." The leader nodded slowly. "Then let them fear. We came to prove ourselves. We will not crawl just because they whisper in shadows." Far away, in the private halls of the council, A secret meeting began. Only a handful of species attended, the ones who feared humanity the most. The reptilian commander, the insectoid hive speaker, and others whose names were not spoken outside these walls. They cannot be allowed to rise, the reptilian said. His eyes glowed with fury. Already, lesser species whisper of humans as saviors. If this continues, they will inspire rebellion. Empires will fall. Our rule will end. The insectoid agreed. We gave them a trial to crush their pride, and instead they have grown stronger. Another test will not be enough. We must break them from within. One of the shadowed delegates leaned forward. Its voice was smooth, almost human in tone. Then let us give them what they think they want. Give them a seat among us. Give them recognition. And while they celebrate, we plant the seeds of their destruction. The room grew still. It was a cunning plan. No open war, no public betrayal. Instead, poison hidden in friendship. They are too united now, the shadowed one continued. But humans have weaknesses. Pride, ambition, division. They fight each other as fiercely as they fight outsiders. We will feed those flames. We will give them power, then watch them tear themselves apart. Slowly, the others nodded. It was agreed. Humanity would be welcomed with smiles, but behind those smiles, daggers waited. On Earth, the celebrations began. News spread faster than light, carried by every ship, every channel. Humanity had faced the trial of the ancients and won. For the first time in history, they were not seen as prey, not as rebels, but as equals, or so they believed. Crowds filled the streets. Lights covered cities. Children wore banners of stars and flags. The words, "We survived," echoed across the planet. But inside the Council of Earth, the leaders were cautious. The general stood with his arms crossed, his face grim even as others smiled. They will not stop here, he warned. Victory does not make us safe. It makes us a target. The leader of Earth met his eyes. Then we prepare. We fought their war. We passed their trial. And if they try again, we will be ready. Back in the Council's grand chamber, the chair being stood before the galaxy. Its voices carried across thousands of channels. Humanity has proven its strength. By the will of the Council, they shall be granted recognition and a seat among us. Applause, hisses, and echoes filled the chamber. Some delegates smiled sincerely. Others smiled like hunters waiting for prey to step into the trap. The humans walked into the chamber to take their place. Billions cheered across Earth and its colonies. But somewhere in the shadows, the secret plan had already begun. The humans had won the trial. Now the Council would test their souls. The chamber lights glowed brighter than ever before. For the first time in history, a human flag was raised inside the Council of Species. Billions across Earth and the colonies cheered, voices echoing across oceans and cities. Humanity had won its place. The human leader stood tall at the new seat, her eyes sharp, her voice steady as she spoke. We came here not to beg, but to stand as equals. Today, that promise has been kept. The chamber filled with applause, but beneath the noise, many eyes burned with hidden anger. The reptilian commander leaned toward the insectoid hive speaker. His words were a whisper only they could hear. Let them enjoy their victory. The higher they climb, the harder they will fall. The insectoid clicked softly in agreement. And when they fall, no one will rise to save them. At first, things looked bright. Humans were welcomed into new trade routes. Their ships docked at stations once forbidden. For the first time, human scientists walked the halls of alien academies, and human generals studied fleets that had once been enemies. Earth celebrated every step. News anchors shouted of a new golden age. Children dreamed of stars that were no longer closed. But behind the smiles, the traps began. Small things at first. Promises of resources that never arrived. Invitations to meetings that ended in isolation. A human colony ship redirected to a dangerous sector, by accident. One diplomat whispered, "They are testing us again." Another replied, "No, they are trying to break us without firing a single shot." In one quiet chamber of the council station, the human delegation gathered. They had expected politics, but what they faced was poison. Every deal they made, another shadow moved against them. Every step forward, something tried to pull them back. The scarred general sat at the table, his voice sharp. "This is not peace. This is a slow war. A war of whispers, not weapons." The leader of Earth nodded. "And we must fight it the same way. Not with guns, but with patience. With unity. They think they can divide us, but we will show them wrong." The general gave a grim smile. "Then we play their game, better than they do." Weeks passed. Rumors spread in the council halls. Whispers of corruption in the human ranks, of secret deals, of greed. Some species believed them. Others laughed, calling them the same old lies used against every rising power. But one rumor spread faster than the rest. A human colony ship had been destroyed. Official reports claimed it was an accident, a star's gravity well, an error in navigation. But the humans who checked the data knew the truth. The course had been altered by outside hands. The council offered sympathy. Empty words. No investigation. No punishment. Earth mourned. Thousands dead, families broken. And yet, in the council chamber, no justice came. The human leader stood and spoke, her voice heavy with fury. "We will not forget this. We will not forgive it." Her words echoed. Some delegates flinched. Others smirked in silence. In the shadows, the secret alliance of species who feared humanity gathered again. "Their anger grows," the reptilian commander hissed. "Good. Anger divides them. Soon they will turn on each other." But the shadowed delegate, the one whose smooth voice always cut deepest, shook its head. "No. Not yet. They are more united than you think. We must push harder. Break their trust in the council itself. Only then will they stand alone." The insectoid clicked. "And once they stand alone, they can be crushed." On Earth, the mood shifted. The joy of victory was fading. News of the destroyed colony spread, and with it came doubt. Some demanded war. Others demanded patience. Protests grew in cities, banners calling for revenge lit the skies. The general watched the chaos on a screen, his jaw tight. This is what they wanted. Not to fight us, but to make us fight ourselves. The leader's eyes burned with determination. "Then we do the opposite. We show the galaxy that even in grief, humanity stands together. They want to see us crack. We will show them steel." At the next council session, humanity spoke again. This time, not with pride, but with warning. "We know what you are doing," the leader said, her voice echoing across the hall. "You think you can weaken us with whispers, with shadows, with lies. But hear this, humanity does not break in silence. We rise louder. We grow stronger. Every attempt to crush us will become another reason we endure." The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Some delegates looked away in shame. Others glared with hatred. But a few, a very few, felt something else. Respect. Perhaps even hope. In the dark after the session, the general stood beside his leader. "They will not stop," he said quietly. "No," she agreed. "But neither will we. Let them come with shadows and whispers. Humanity has faced worse in fire and blood. And every time, we did not fall. We rose." And far across the stars, in hidden halls, the Council's secret alliance began their final plan. The humans had survived war. They had survived the trial. They had survived politics. But could they survive betrayal from the heart of the Council itself? The galaxy would soon find out. The Council chamber was silent, but the silence felt heavy. Too many whispers, too many lies, too many shadows. Humanity had survived every test, but the trap was nearly ready to close. In secret halls, the alliance of fearful species gathered for the final time. The reptilian commander's eyes gleamed with cold hatred. The humans think they are safe. They think the council protects them. Tomorrow, we end this illusion. The insectoid hive speaker clicked in agreement. We will accuse them of treachery. We will present forged evidence. And when the council votes, humanity will stand alone. The shadowed delegate smiled. Its voice was smooth and quiet, but deadly. Once the galaxy believes them guilty, we strike. No fleet, no allies, no escape. Humanity will vanish, not with war, but with shame. They believed their plan perfect. But humans were not blind. On their ship, the scarred general stared at intercepted data spread across the table. A young technician had risked everything to gather it. Secret messages, hidden codes, the proof of betrayal. They want to destroy us from within, the general said. His voice was steady, but his eyes burned with fire. The human leader looked at the data and then at her people. Then tomorrow, when they try to break us, we will show the galaxy the truth. We do not hide in shadows. We burn them away. The next day, the council gathered. Billions watched across the stars. The chair being raised its many hands, its voices calm. This session has been called to discuss grave charges. Humanity, accused of treachery, stands before us. The reptilian commander stepped forward, placing glowing crystals on the table. Here is proof. Messages showing human fleets planning attacks. Evidence of secret weapons. Lies hidden under peace. The chamber erupted in noise. Delegates shouted, demanded answers, hissed in anger. Billions watching across the galaxy felt their hearts twist. Could it be true? Were humans nothing more than conquerors in disguise? The chair being turned toward the human leader. What do you say to these charges? The human leader stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but carried sharp steel. I say, lies burn when touched by truth. She gestured, and the scarred general activated the screen. The chamber lit up with the intercepted data, messages not from humans, but from the secret alliance. Proof of forged evidence, proof of hidden meetings, proof of betrayal not by humanity, but by the very ones accusing them. Gasps filled the chamber. The reptilian commander froze, his scales trembling. The insectoid clicked furiously, but the voices of the crowd drowned it out. You tried to frame them. Lies. All lies. The humans were right. The shadowed delegate tried to rise, but the humans were ready. With a wave of her hand, the leader revealed the final piece of evidence. Recordings of their secret council, every word they had spoken, every plan they had made. The chamber fell silent. The entire galaxy had heard the truth. The chair beings' voices trembled with anger. You conspired against them. You broke the trust of this council. You endangered the galaxy with your fear. The punishment will be severe. For the first time, the conspirators looked afraid. The human leader stood tall, her voice rising above the chaos. You wanted to test us. You wanted to see what humanity is. You sent fleets. We survived. You sent trials. We endured. You sent lies and shadows. We broke them with truth. Do you see now? Her eyes swept across the chamber, across the cameras that carried her words to billions. Humanity does not just survive. We do not just endure. We rise higher, no matter the chains you place on us. Every fire, every trial, every betrayal only makes us stronger. And now, the galaxy knows it. The chamber shook with voices, some shouting in fury, others in awe, and many more in something new, respect. The chair being raised its hands. Then it is decided. Humanity shall remain among us, not as prey, not as pawns, but as equals. Let all species hear, the age of silence is over. The age of humanity has begun. On Earth, the words carried across every screen, every radio, every sky. Crowds wept, cheered, shouted into the night. Humanity had not only survived. They had stood against the galaxy's oldest powers and forced them to see the truth. In the quiet after, the scarred general stood beside the leader. "We won," he said softly. The leader shook her head. "No. This is only the beginning. They will still fear us. Some will still hate us. But now, they can no longer deny us. And that changes everything." The general gave a rare smile. "Then let them come. Whatever they throw at us next, they'll learn the same lesson as always." He looked out at the stars, his voice steady. "Humans don't kneel. Humans rise." And across the galaxy, every species knew the truth. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars. And the stars would never be the same again.